the way that I was thinking about it, just in talking with some of these guys that are making these choices, to me, the decision, like we said, it comes down to some of those things that we just outlined in terms of the types of people. But there's the other element of it that I think is really important is the types of personalities you're going to be dealing with, or the type of organization that you're going to be dealing with, the people that are involved, who's running it, and how do those things line up with you as a person as well.
Yeah.
So I think beyond the just like the pure hockey judgment of the development curve and where you're at, I think you also have to judge that type of stuff as well. So it's like, who's the coach? Does he actually like you as a player? Does he know a lot about you? Are they just offering you something because they think you're good because someone else told them? Who came to you first? That's actually an important thing to understand. And judging kind of those, I would call them more soft criteria that aren't initially obvious. Because if you're a really good player, you'll be fine in either league.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? If you can play in the NCAA, you can play in the OHL. If you can play in the OHL, you can play in the NCAA to some degree.
Yep.
Whether it's earlier or later, obviously that's up for how you make your decision. But in terms of the people involved, I think that's a really important thing to start to weigh and to think about and to judge when you guys are having the conversation, making the decision, not just the purely hockey standpoint.
Yeah, so I look at the opportunity that one of our students has, that they were recruited and he's committed to a school, and now there's a Canadian Hockey League team that's really pressing them hard to go to their program. And like you said, are they pressing hard because, we know they're better than what we thought they were? Or is it because they knew that all along? Well, the college team is the ones that laid it all out for them, and this kid got recruited to them. And it was like, this is why we like you, and this, like, we really like you right now, and we see you as, fitting in here, and we like your style, and this is how, we puzzle you into our team, and this is where we project you. And they've been to several games to watch this player, and they've spent time with the family. And like, I get, like, no matter who you are, before when someone gets drafted to the OHL, and it's before anything starts, you're the greatest thing ever, right? It's like going on your first date. When you go on your first date, the old girl's got the makeup on, she smells good, she's got her best clothes on, she eats a salad, taking small bites. Please, thank you. Everything's perfect until you get married, and all of a sudden you get the track pants, and you
get the good, the bad, and the ugly.
You start getting all the stuff that you get the real person. So it's no different than a hockey team when you get recruited, like even drafted the NHL, right? Oh, so glad to have you. Well, there's 2 spots in the next 10 years, really, so we're not that glad. Hopefully you work hard and make it. So anyways, you hear all the good stuff until the reality sets in. So when people are courting you, as a term, as the dating thing goes,
courting you,
is they're going to give you their best. Right, so everything sounds good.
It's a sales pitch, right?
It's a sales pitch, and then when you get there, things can change. But having said that, there's the one side, the college, the U.S. college that is they're committed to, that he's committed to, is they're all over him, and they explain why they like him so much and how they fit in. And to me, that would mean a lot to me, that you're the one that that believed in me when no one else did. You came first to the dance, and you've spent the time, you've invested a little bit of time, money, energy in me, and I feel like there's a loyalty there. Not to say that you have to be loyal, because it goes both ways. But to me, that's like that would be my heart's there right now.
Yeah.
Especially if that's kind of where you were leaning in the first place. And then the other thing I like about that, if a college does that, is there is less likely, like, and I could be a little bit wrong, but I think I'm mostly right here. In a college atmosphere, coaches tend to be there, like the guy that just left, I think it was Boston BU. I think he was there for 25 or 35 years or 40 years as a coach, something like that. And a lot of the programs have coaches that are there for a very, very long time. Yeah. So when this coach that has been there for a long time is saying, this is where I see you fit, I take that to the bank a little bit more than like the CHL, not a bad thing. Just it's different because general managers are picking players more than coaches
There's
are,
a lot of moving
whereas
around.
coaches in the NCAA are part of the recruiting process and they see players that they like. So if they're offering you something, it's because that coach actually wants you on his team, not necessarily the general manager.
Yeah.
So there's a pretty good setup, I think. Whereas so now if you're going from the college and you're kind of getting pulled to go, hey, well, come and play for us now. I'll take care of you. We'll give you this. We'll give you that. It's like, okay, the general manager's saying that, but what is the coach actually saying? Because at the end of the day, the coach is the guy that plays you.
Mm-hmm.
And the general manager could say, I think I like this kid. And the coach says, yeah, okay, well, whatever, you sign him, whatever. And if he doesn't play your style or don't like the personality and he's never really talked to you before, you don't know.
That's
You don't
right.
know.
Well, and an important difference between the two processes is the one you have the draft, the other they have to come find you. And what I really like about this particular situation, and it could go either way. I'm not saying only the NCAA does this because the OHL could just as well do this. But in this case, what happened was the school told the kid, this is why we like you. This is why we want you. This is where you can fit on our team. And that's a lot different than just saying, hey, come play here. We'll give you this if you come play here, period.
Yeah.
Because
So that situation that the boy's in right
right,
now.
that situation particular, because it could go the other way. You could have the OHL team saying, hey, come here because we want you to be the first line right winger in a year and a half, and we think we can develop you to be that and give you a really good chance at moving on to play professional. So the OHL could just as well do that. But it's in this case, because the school came and did that, I think that's a valuable data point in making your decision, and it's super, it's super sexy to go play in the OHL today and all that kind of stuff, which is fine. But in terms of your personal development and where you will be best catered to in terms of your trajectory as an individual player, those types of things need to be in the equation when you're making your decision, and you could do this with two different schools too. Like you could have two schools where, let's say you have North Dakota that's saying, yep, here's your scholarship, come play for us. But then you have a smaller school that's saying, yep, here's your scholarship, come play for us. And we want you because this, and this. We think you would fit perfect. You play our style, you play this. And they clearly have invested some time in researching you as an individual, as a person, as a player, to see where that you can fit in that lineup. And I think that's a very, very important thing to consider if you're in the fortunate position of being able to make a choice. And this goes for the kid we're talking about. This goes for somebody like Noah. I'm sure had to make that decision when he was deciding between, these are things that you need to consider, because just because you can have the candy now doesn't mean that it's going to be better for you long term, and vice versa. So it's just, those are things you have to make sure you're considering when you're making your decision.
Bottom line is, if you're going to play in the NHL, you're probably not going to get there before 22 years old anyways. So whether you go through the OHL, which everyone says they develop faster, they develop hockey players. No, it's the same, but I'll explain that in a minute. The other side that is really nice about this is, as you said earlier, is those coaches really like you. And that's not to say that the CHL coaches don't like you or the team doesn't want you anymore. They're just, their hands are tied because, as you said, the draft. So I could just Eric Palazzolo as a hockey player. That's who I hope I can draft. Well, if you're drafted 18th and someone takes you at 3, well, there's nothing you can do. There's zero recruiting you can do up until you get the draft. So that part's that part.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's just important though. Like, there's just something to be said about having somebody who cares about you personally, and that, again, this was what makes it hard, is that you don't know actually because they're giving you the sales pitch, right? You don't know actually how much this person or this team or this organization actually cares about you. All you can go off of is what they're telling you. But there's a certain level of what would the term be? Like being genuine. I don't know. I'm trying to think of it.
Yeah, genuine.
Yeah, sure. You can kind of gauge that, right? You can kind of gauge how genuine someone is being.
Yep.
And that should be part of your decision making. Because even with a couple of these kids, and not even just them, other guys, like when they're trying to decide which junior team to play for, like I remember I was talking to one kid and he was deciding which team to play junior for locally. There's a few options that he had. And I was saying to him, I was like, well, yeah, this one team seems to be a better organization, but this other team really wants you.
Mm-hmm.
So is it better for you to go where you're really wanted, or is it better for you to go where it's better on paper?
Yeah.
And that's something that you really need to think about. Like, it's the fact that somebody is willing to spend time on you and really take a look at you and understand your game and understand your family and you as a person and all those other factors. I think that's an important thing to judge, because even with some of those other guys that like trying to think about going out west and going to the USHL or going up into the OJ and all that kind of stuff, it's like you don't know the types of people that you're walking into.
Yeah.
And if you play junior here, you have people that care about you.
Yeah.
You have people that want the best for you and that are going to invest time in you and keep you accountable to make sure you're developing properly. And you want to go to a place where you feel like you'll get the most of that. You want the most amount of that possible, where people genuinely care about you and your success. And when people don't, they're not showing you that. I think that's an important point.
I think it's a huge point. And that's why I think in that one situation, when we look at it, I was talking to one of the dads the other day, and I said, it's not, I can't make the decision for you at all. I know, I wish I could give you a clear cut decision. And we talked about things, and it's like, if these people are the first ones, and there was others there, but these are the ones that said, no, we want you, and here's why, and here's how, and this is what we want to do. This is where we see you fitting in. And all of a sudden you start, because the hockey world's small, and then it gets out that, well, and of course the OHL team, they were kind of making a commitment. They had to report back, this is what's going on through the agent and stuff. So then all of a sudden their offer gets a little bit better, and they want them they become more desirable. It's like, well, why am I desirable now? Because these guys want me. So I would say, in making the commitment, it's like hard to, and there's another thing, you're making an integrity move now, right? Like if you sit there and you say, yes, you commit to me, I commit to you, and then you say, I don't commit now. It's like, and I know for this one family, it's like, that's a really tough decision for them.
Yeah.
And I would go, so what I said to the dad is, I said, like, number one, as a family, you have to, as a family, we have to look at the player. Okay, so what does the player want, right? What do you want to do, Eric? Because if it was 3 months ago or all last year, or whatever, it's that you always wanted to play in the CHL, and this is what your burning desire is, to play for the whatever team drafted you, and then when the school came to you and you were like, okay, well, that's good too. Okay, we'll go there, and you're pretending that's what you really wanted, is different than when they offered, this is really what I want, right? So we have to decide as a player, what is it that you really want? And that's an honest conversation with the dad and the kid. So I just think that with everything that is presented, they have to have that conversation where it's like, which way did you really want to lean? Let's go peel it back and be honest about it. Once you peel it back, say, okay, if it was, they really want to go to the HL, now the parents have an obligation to be parents, right? Draw that line in the middle, and what's good, what's bad, the benefits and the cons, and the pros and cons of everything, and you kind of make a non-emotional decision, just based on what's the best decision for us as a family and stuff. But at the end of the day, all that's considered, we still have to go with what the kid's desire is, because at the end of the day, the kid has to make a decision, and it has to live with that decision as well. Mm-hmm. Right? Because if my parents would have said, hey, you're going to school, no, you're going to school, we're not letting you go to the OHL, I would have really, really been pissed.
Yeah, for sure.
Pissed. That's just because it's my life.